Well, today is a much better day than it was yesterday. We actually have some wind to sail out of Fairleigh, and we're heading for the center of the bay. Going to be turning north. Well, you guessed it. The wind quit on us again about 20 minutes out of Fairleigh Creek. So we were forced to start the engine, and here we are entering the Sassafras River. Looking north on the bay was almost like a mirror reflecting the clouds and showing no signs of wind. Wind or no wind, a few sailors were trying to make a go of it, but they weren't going anywhere. Orange cliffs preceded the town of Betterton, once a popular stop during the steamship days. The trip to the bow was quieter, but the river looks even flatter and more windless than the bay. The main was still up from when there was a promise of more wind when we sailed out of Fairleigh Creek. Now it was just up to help steady the boat while motoring. Even the dinghy looked like it was miffed about being dragged along by motor. One consolation was that the Sassafras River is one of the most picturesque on the bay, with its riverside homes and plenty of places to anchor or grab a mooring ball. Some of the homes are just downright palatial. Here's one with an unbelievable staircase running down from the house to a private dock. I'd hate to have to take a fall down those stairs. Finally, we did make it to Georgetown, Maryland, and Sailing Associates, which was a reasonably good marina surrounded by many other marinas, even a few decent restaurants. This is where we purchased our first sailboat many years ago. The next day we cast off our lines and headed for Havre. Of course, again there was no wind, just more beautiful shoreline and day markers to maneuver around, since the river is quite curvy. First red, then green, and so on, with almost each one topped off with a osprey nest, like it was some sort of state requirement. So when the wind is not blowing, sometimes the only thing you can do is drink coffee. Listen to the motor hum away. After leaving the Sassafras and heading up the channel towards Havre, we started to encounter stuff in the water. It looked like parts of an island had come apart someplace. Sometimes it even looked like a floating island. To get to Havre, you need to skirt around the Aberdeen Proving Ground. It's a government facility where ordnance is tested, among other things. That means bombs and explosives that can be heard once in a while. There's no going ashore here. Well, this is where it started for Beverly and I. About 22 years ago, I took my first lesson here, sailing lesson, at Havre, the top of the Chesapeake Bay. And we actually motored in yesterday because there was no wind. And it's like coming back to your old grade school, meeting your old friends. Some things have changed. Not a lot. There's some new stuff. But the basics are here. And we're actually in the same basin C where we had our old Hunter 285. And then today we're going to sail back down to parts south on the bay. But this is a very interesting, been a very interesting trip. Kind of nostalgic. Well, here it is, our home away from home. I guess we better get ready to get out of here. Finally got some wind today. Well, finally, after 3 days of motoring on this trip, we finally got some decent wind. In fact, almost too much wind. I'm down to a one reef main and a bit of a rolled in jib. And got the auto helm driving right now. Got to change it a little bit. Oh, my wife isn't humming. She hums when the boat heels too much. Somewhere around 20-degree heel, she'll start humming. So anyway, here we are. Call it.
Ready about.
Ready?
Help the lead.
We eventually ended up with about 20 knots of wind with gust and 3-foot seas. All right, call it.
Ready now.
Ready.
Help the lead.
We had to spend a couple hours tacking south down the bay because the wind was blowing against us. Ooh, it was pretty sloppy on that one.
Well, I'll tell you, with the wind and the wave, I don't know how smooth you could do it anyway.
So this was the way it was for a couple of hours till we were able to seek shelter in Wharton Creek, which was very protected and flat. A welcome relief from the conditions on the bay.
10:30.
After a long day of beating into the wind, we finally turned into Wharton Creek for a well-deserved rest before leaving for Rock Hall the next morning. Thanks for watching.